we're learning tonight. Okay. A very quick recap. The Kilas Yaakov brought us into a new understanding, right? Kilas Yaakov Siman Aleph explains to us Plagim and Chalmala and the Sufik Derban Tati the Sasri. Now, we had Tosas explain to us that we paskin. Tosas Kasha was how do we daven Marav early? Shema isn't until Tzeitzah Kochavim. So Tosas told us that we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda holds and Plaga Mincha's last time done Mincha. That means obviously Marav starts then and Shema starts then as well. Good. So we know how you're able to Yotzei Shema early. Then Tosas says that's clever, that's wonderful, but how do you explain sometimes we daven Mincha after Plag? The answer is we paskin like the Rabbanan. It's hard to decide. Either paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, paskin like Rabbanan. You're right. It's something of a kasha. Okay, good. Now the Kilas Yaakov pointed out to us that there's a machlokas Rishonim, the Rosh and the Meiri, as to how to compare Tosas' case. Tosas said it's Sasri Adodi. Tosas just told us that if you paskin like Rabbi Yehuda and paskin like the Rabbanan, it's Sasri Adodi, but Tosas was able to live with it. The Meiri and the Rosh have different comparisons that they compare that case to. The Meiri says it's like Shnei Shvilin, and the Rosh says it's like Shidra. So let's very quickly understand that. And the Kilas Yaakov explains to us what the machlokas between the Rosh and the Meiri is. Why is it? Or what does it mean that the Rosh compares it to Shidra and the Meiri compares it to Shnei Shvilin? But before he explains machlokas, the first step is to understand each system. How do we understand why is it that Shnei Shvilin, we have no problem getting two halachas that seem to be contradictory and living with it? And when it comes to Shidra, we can't have two halachas that are contradictory. All right, so let's start with Shnei Shvilin. Shnei Shvilin is based on the following principle: Savik Tuma B'Rishus Harabim Seikotar. If you touch something in Rishus Harabim, and maybe it's Tamei and maybe it's not. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. If it's in Rishus Harabim, the halacha is the Safik is Tahar. The exact same Safik, if you were in Rishus Yachid, would be Tamei, but it's halacha l'Moshe Sinai that if you touch something, you have a Safik Tumah in Rishus Harabim, it is Tahar. Okay, so here's the case. The case is there are two roads. Under one of these roads, somebody's buried. Now, I don't know if it's the left road. I don't know if the right road. I don't know. Okay, anyway, Echad Tamei Echatar, two roads, body buried under one. We know which road. And somebody went on one road and made things. He worked with Taros. So basically, on Tuesday, Reuven walked on the first road. And after walking on the first road, he was involved in things that are tahar, and then on Wednesday, Shimon walked on the second road, and he also was involved then with things that are tahar. So Rabbi Yehuda says, if each one asks independently, if Reuven comes to Beis and asks, and later on Shimon comes to Beis and asks, each one is tahar, because it's a suffix. We don't know suffix, and it's fine. If they both come together, then it's a problem. It's tamei. But everything that either Reuven or Shimon touch remains tar, as long as they don't come together. Now that's the first case, right?
Rabbi, is that a suffix deraisa?
Yes, it is suffix deraisa, 100%.
So why does he paskin the kula there?
Because Safik Tuma B'Rishus Harabim is Sveikotar. That's Allah Moshe Misinai. That's the law. Even though it's a deraisa, every deraisa goes to Chumrah, but there are certain exceptions. Safik Tuma B'Rishus Harabim, the rule is, even though it's a deraisa, but it's tahar. Why? Because God said so.
If it's a gezeres akasa for this specific halacha, why would it be relevant in any other halachic situations?
So the concept is relevant, not the halacha. The concept. Basically the Rishonim use these concepts to explain how we view this case of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan conceptually, and the disciple is going to explain to us how the concept applies. All right, but let's get the second case. All right, so that's the first case, Shnei Shvilin. Second case is Shidra. Okay, so basically the story is like this: there's a concept called Tumas Oil. If I have something under this oil, let's say a body, everything that's underneath the oil, anything contained within this area is tummy. Now, a complete shidra, is something that would be matame, anything under the oil. So if I had a complete shidra under the oil, anything in the oil, kalim or people or whatever it might be, a complete spine, everything in that O would be tummy. Now, an etzem, a bone in that same area would not be tummy. Why? Because a bone has to have a shear. It's one bone is not sufficient. Has to have a large shear, but a shidra, complete shidra is. Now, the question is, what about a shidra that isn't complete? There's, let's say, one or two of the vertebrae are missing from the shidra. What's halacha? So we know if it's not a complete shidra, it's not metame. But the question is, what is it that makes a shidra not complete? And what makes it considered not a complete shidra? And that is a machlokas between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. And Beis Hillel says, chol ya'achas. If it's missing even one vertebrae, it's not a shidra, not a complete shidra. Beis Shammai says, nah, what are you talking? One vertebrae is fine. Has to be missing two vertebrae, then it's not a complete shidra. All right, so the machlokas Beis Shammai Beis Hillel is what's needed to make it not a complete shidra. Beis Hillel says even one vertebrae missing makes it not a complete shidra. Beis Shammai says no, it has to be two. Okay, now if only one vertebrae is missing from the shidra, so then what happens? So according to Beis Shammai, it remains a shidra. Why? Because it has to have two to be missing, right? Because if it's two missing, it's not a shidra, but one missing would be a shidra. And this is the machlokas between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. If you're missing one, if it's missing one vertebrae, according to Beis Shammai, it's still a shidra. According to Beis Hillel, it's not a shidra. Now, here's the question, gentlemen: is that a chumrah or a kula? I mean, Beis Shammai says to take it out of category shidra, you need to have two vertebrae. And Beis Hillel says no, even if one's missing, it's not a vertebrae. So, is Beis Shammai mekel or Beis Hillel mekel? Which one is the kula? So the answer is, it really depends on in regards to what question. In regards to Tumas OL, so then Beis Shammai is the machmir. Why? Because they say it remains a shidra until two are missing. So if only one's missing, they say it still has a din of a shidra. It has a din of a shidra, it makes tuma in the whole area. So in regards to Tumas OL, Beis Shammai is the machmir, right? And the opposite, Beis Hillel a mekel. Why? Because Beis Hillel say if it's missing even one vertebrae, it's not a spine anymore. It's not a shidra. So in regards to Tumah, if it's missing one vertebrae, Beis Hillel is a Gavaldik Kula because it's not Metame. If it's missing even one, it's not a Shidra, it's not Metame. So in regards to Tumah, Beis Shammai is the Machmir and Beis Hillel is the Mekil. But what about a different case? What about a question of an animal being a treifa? Now, if an animal is wounded mortally, it's considered a treifa, and even if you shecht it well, you can't eat it. Now, one of the things that makes it a mortal injury is if it's missing part of the spine. But how much of the spine? So again, that's a machlokas Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel says even one vertebrae missing makes it not a shidra, makes it a treifa. Beis Shammai says no, it has to be missing two. So if it's only missing one vertebrae, right? So again, according to Beis Hillel, if it's missing one vertebrae, it's not a shidra. According to Beis Shammai, it is a shidra. So therefore, when we're dealing with a treifa, Beis Hillel says even missing one vertebrae, it's not a shidra. They're the machmir. They call it a treifa. But Beis Shammai, on the other hand, they're going to be the maker. Why? Because they say if it's missing one vertebrae, it still is a din of a vertebrae. It still is a shidra. So therefore, it's not a treifa. So therefore, when you're viewing, what?
Yankee? Yes.
I'll put you on one second. I'll put you on.
Question.
Well, put you on.
I'm looking for a certain medication.
Wait.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Couple like that?
No, I'm not.
Where is
That's
it?
all I wanted to know.
I gotta find him.
Okay. What's doing otherwise?
Fine, everything is fine.
Yankee.
Good.
Where's
still
Yankee?
here.
I'm mute. I'm gonna mute everybody else I see.
I was supposed to leave last week Wednesday, and then I changed it to
If you knew that
Thursday.
didn't be recorded, you'd be very careful about what you say. Gentlemen, Reisi Lakachni Musar. Be
Yeah.
careful what you say because somebody's listening.
Again.
I can't find him. I can't find him.
I know, Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
Where is he?
Just mute everyone. Don't you have a button on your wall?
Isn't there a button to mute everybody?
We go late Wednesday.
Hold on.
Somebody call him up and tell him how to mute. Oh, mute all. Yeah, mute all. Okay, mute all. Mute all. Everybody's muted. Now nobody can talk. Shkayach, nobody can talk.
We can still unmute afterwards.
Oh, you can unmute? Okay, good. All right. Okay, good. In any case, So anyway, so this story of a missing one vertebrae is a chumrah in regards to one case, Beis Shammai Shita, in regards to the other case, it's a kula. So basically, this is the situation. Now, this concept is a doraisa. Now, why is it before the Baskol, you were allowed to paskin either like Beis Shammai or Beis Hillel? You could say, but you had to keep that shita for all halachas, meaning if you would say, in regards to the Tumah, I'm going to hold like Beis Shammai. In regards to the Trev, I'm going to hold like Beis Hillel. That's called a Russia. Because you can't use the kulas of both sides. But before the Baskol, you could pick either side, because that's halacha. Why is that? So the Kilas Yaakov explains to us why that was true. Because the pasuk says, "Ubas el kohen alavim el shofet asher yam b'mahem." Go to the shofet in your day. The darash v'gilach has a davar mishpat, and they'll tell you the davar mishpat. Therefore, what? On the piece of meat that a Shiloh was asked on, if the shofet paskin behechli with vadayas, with absolute, he said this is kosher. So you went to the shofet. The shofet said you could rely on it, and that's kosher. It's a hechlet. And he said with absoluteness, meaning since it's a suffix deraisa, he had to paskin vaday, and that is vaday kosher, and therefore you could eat it. Why? Because he gave a psak of vaday kosher. Now the Chazon Ish explains that halacha is true even about a Talmud by his Rebbe's psak, even if the Rebbe didn't paskin on that piece. Meaning, let's say I'm a Talmud of Moshe, and Moshe paskins a certain kulit. If I'm a Talmud of his, I can use that. I can go by, even though I know many other people argue, maybe even the Rove people argue. It doesn't matter. I have a right to say I'm a Talmud of my Rebbe, and I could even on Deraisa, I can rely on that, and I'm allowed to be makel on that. Okay. But again, gentlemen, this is the story. There, you can't have a contradiction. Because, why? Because, actually, do we understand the difference now between Shnei Shvilim, why we can live with a suffix over there, and by Shidra, we can't live with a suffix? With a contradiction, anyway?
Can Rebbe say why?
Yeah. Okay. Shnei Shvilim, we don't paskin vadai anything. Meaning, when Reuven comes into Beis Din and says, I touched Torah, so the Torah not Beis Din said, I don't know, it's a suffix. But suffix tumen shesarabim is okay. You can make it. Why? Because suffix tumen shesarabim is Torah. And next day Shimon comes in and says, I touched something. Beis Din says, I don't know. Is it tamei? I don't know. But the rule is a suffix tumen shesarabim is suffix Torah. Beis Din said in both cases it's a suffix. We don't know. So how do you say both a Torah? Because that's halacha. That suffix tumen shesarabim is Torah. But Beis Din never said Ruvain is Torah, Shimon's Torah, and we know what happened. He walked on that road, he walked on. Beis Din doesn't know. It remains a suffix, but the law by a suffix is that it's okay because suffix to Mishas Aram is Torah. But when you're dealing with the meat case, or you're dealing with any of the Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel machlokas, you can't use it as a suffix. If you tell me you're eating this meat, it's because you say, I accept what my Rebbe says 100%, and not as a suffix. Because if it's a suffix, it's a suffix deraisa. You have to go to chumrah. It has to be a vadai. I have to accept my Rebbe's psak, and my Rebbe's psak is that this meat is 100% kosher. Meaning what? It's absolutely kosher, not a suffix 100%. That's why I can't rely on someone else's psak in another case, because that's a contradiction you can't live with, because that's a total stira. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that's a stira you can't live with. Because you can't have a vade this way and a vade that way, because that's, you know what I'm saying? If they're both a suffix, who cares? Okay, I don't know, but it's not a contradiction to hold both at the same time. But if the only way you have a psak is because of a vadai, you can't hold both. You can't burn the candle on both sides. Don't know what I'm talking about?
Does Rebbe mean that it's like the difference is that on in the backbone case, in the spine case, it's a halachic, it's a machlokas in halacha. How do we paskin this way or that way?
And in like Beis Shammai, what you're saying is this is absolutely still a shidra, but it can't be a suffix because you can't be makel on a suffix. It has to be we accept this. This is mamish, has a din of a shidra, has a din of a spine, and then you can't for a child paskin like Hillel because that'll be a stira that you can't live with. Either is a spine or it's not a spine. Meaning if I have a spine that's missing one shidra, I can make up my mind. I can paskin like Beis Shammai, in which case every single situation that a shidra is missing one vertebrae, it's a shidra. or I could pass like Beis Hillel and say every single case where it's missing even one vertebrae, it's not a shidra. But I can't, for different cases, passing different ways. Why? Because if I accept Beis Shammai, what I'm saying is this is absolutely a shidra. If I accept Beis Hillel, I'm saying this absolutely is not a shidra. Why? Because otherwise I can't rely on that halacha. It's a suffix deraisa, and if it remained a suffix, I'd have to go to chumrah. There's no din of suffix. It's only by suffix tum b'shus harabim that we have a special kula. But when you're dealing with a regular suffix deraisa, the only way you could be allowed to eat the meat, let's say, or the opposite, the way you assume there's no tumas all, and you assume vadai, and that it either is a shidra or it's not a shidra. But that you can't have for one child accepting one psak and another child a different psak, because that's a stira that's absolutely untenable.
Why does Ruby keep calling that a suffix? Where is this? It's just the suffix of who we hold like? There's no suffix there, right?
Well, is it a shidra or is it not a shidra?
That's not a suffix. That's not a suffix. That's a machlokas.
Well, okay, but you fine, but call it what you will. Halacha, I don't know if this is a spine or it's not a spine. It's missing one vertebrae. Does this have a din of a spine? Does it have not? Well, it depends who you ask. According to Beis Hillel, it doesn't have a din of a spine. According to Beis Shammai, it does have a din of a spine. So is it a spine or not? I don't know. So you have a right to say, I paskin like Beis Shammai, and this is absolutely a shidra. But that means vade is shidra. Why? Because it's a deraisa, so you have to be a vade. Or I have a right to say, I paskin like Beis Hillel, and it's not a shidra. But that means vade, it's not a shidra. The only way you can act in that case is if you have a vade psak, meaning I hold this way. I hold like Beis Hillel. I hold Beis Hillel's right, and it's not a shidra. Or I hold like Beis Shammai, and it is a shidra. But it's not because it's not a maybe. If it's a maybe, you can't do it. You have to hold vadai, that sad, and then you could eat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, meaning within the machlokas, it's a vadai one way or the other. It's a vadai. Either you vadai hold like Beis Hillel or you vadai hold like
Exactly.
Shammai.
When you're dealing with
the other case,
right? What's the other?
Right. On the other case, it's a suffix either way you look at it, meaning it's a situational suffix. It's a practical suffix.
Right, and it can remain a suffix, and we could still be tar. How can it be tar? Because the rule is suffix tuma in the Rishus Harabim is tar. So I don't have to say I know he which road he walked on. I don't know which road he walked on, but it's a suffix, and the rule by a suffix is you can be makel. You can't be makel on a suffix of meat. Suffix deraisa l'chumra. The only way you can be makel on that suffix is I say I hold like that shita that it's mutter. That means it's absolutely mutter. It's kosher meat. But it can't be it's a suffix. If it's a suffix, you can't eat it. So far, so bad?
Good.
Good? All right. Now, let's see what the Kilush Yaakov does with this. Should we read this inside or should we do it outside?
Do it outside.
I do better outside usually.
Okay, fine. All right, good. All right, here's what the disciple says. The disciple says, let's look at this Gemara in Brachas Chav Zayin and Alf. And this is the Gemara that everyone discusses. Meaning, we just discussed, the Gemara says, the machlokas between Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanan. When is the last time you could daven mincha? According to Rabbi Yehuda, the last time you could daven mincha, plaga mincha. According to the Rabbanan, when's the last time you could daven mincha? Marav. Okay, so how do we hold? So the Gemara tries to prove like this one, like that one. The Gemara finally throws up their hands and says, we don't know. And now, since we can't prove whether Rabbi Yehuda is right or the Rabbanan is right, therefore the Ovid Kemar Ovid. If you do like this man, you could do it, it's fine. The Ovid Kemar Ovid, and if you do like this man, it's fine. Now, here's the question, gentlemen. What does that mean? When the Gemara says, if you do like him, it's fine, or him like fine, what does it mean? Says the Kilush Yaakov, that's exactly what the Meiri and the Rosh are arguing about. When the Gemara says this expression, the Ovid Kemar Ovid Kemar, what does it mean? And that's what the Rosh and the Meiri are discussing. Says the Meiri, what that means is as follows. That means is, since we don't know whether we pass like Rabbi Yehuda or the Rabbanan, so it's you can do this way, you can do that way. It's not a contradiction. You pick your. It's like the rabbis are saying it's your choice. We don't really know, so do whatever you want. It's good. It's okay. It's fine. Do whatever you want. You do like Rabbi Yehuda, do like the Rabbanan. It's all good. It doesn't matter. You could choose. Now, I'll grant you the same day. You can't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, in the same day, and daven mincha after plug, and then dam marav right away, because that'll be like two guys walking the Beis Din at the same time. But as long as it's different days, what the Gemara is saying is it's okay, because we don't really know whether Rabbi Yehuda is right or the Rabbanan's right. So you can be Mekel and you can do what you want. Now I'll let you in a clue. Obviously, well, all right, I'm not gonna let you in a clue. Okay, good.
The Rosh or the Meiri Rebbe is explaining.
That's the Meiri.
Okay.
So even though the Meiri says, even though yesterday I daven mincha, let's say I daven maariv right after plug, and the next day I can daven mincha after plug. Why? Because that's what the Gemara said. Avi kamar, you want to do like this one, you can. I want to do like this one. Now again, the same day you can't do because that's a contradiction. But on different days, there's no contradiction. It's just like conceptually, it's just like Shnei Shvilin. Okay, good. Now, how good? So meaning, how do you look at this case? The dam marav and dam mincha. The answer is it's tarti to sasri, but whatever, we can live with it as long as it's different days. We can live with it. Very good. Now, however, the Rosh says, "What are you talking about? Didn't you read the Gemara?" The Gemara said, "The avi kamar of it, the avi kamar of it." You know what that means? That means just like Shidra. The Rosh says, just like Shidra, there's a psak. You have a right to paskin. I hold like Beis Shammai, or I hold like Beis Hillel, but you have to decide who you hold like. Meaning, you want to hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that's good, but you better always hold like Rabbi Yehuda, because what you're saying is, I paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. I paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, so therefore, plug and mincha is the end of the day. So from now on in, I hold like Rabbi Yehuda, and always I daven mincha to plug and marav after plug. Or I have a right to say, I always hold like the Rabbanan, and you daven mincha all the way till tzeis, and after tzeis you daven marav. But you can't one day do one and one the other, because that's a contradiction. Either you hold like Rabbi Yehuda or the Rabbanan. As like Shnei Shidra. So conceptually, the question is what how they look at it.
But isn't Tefillah D'Rabbanan?
Tefillah is the Rabbanan, yeah.
So then, I thought we said the whole point of the Beis Hillel the Shidra discussion was specifically for Daraisas, where Suffolk is the Chumrah.
Right, but the Rosh would say, listen, when the rabbis gave you permission, David Kamar, they didn't mean to say it's Hefker. Granted, it's the Rabbanan, but you can't have a contradiction. You can't say Monday I hold like Rabbi Yehuda, Tuesday I hold like the
Even though it's D'Rabbanan.
Yeah, it's Rabbanan, but it's not a mockery. You can't just make a mockery of halacha. You can't just walk all over the place. I hold like Rabbanan, I hold like this. What are you?
Are you making a mockery in Shnei Shvilin?
There's a special halacha l'Moshe Sinai that Shnei Shvilin is suffix to Mishras Aram in the Torah.
And there's another halacha suffix D'Rabbanan l'Kula.
No, but you don't have a right to make the Rosh is saying you don't have a right to make a mockery of it. You have a suffix D'Rabbanan Kula, but you have to pick a shot. The Gemara gave you permission to pick a man. Pick Rabbi Yehuda, pick the Rabbanan, but choose. You can't do both. Make your choice. And the Avi Kamar, according to Rosh, means make your choice. Pick Rabbi Yehuda, you're fine. Pick the Rabbanan, you're fine. But don't go mixing and matching. That you can't do.
The general principle we had that it's a difference of Truma the Rice Rabbanan is not true in this case.
The general principle of when you have a suffix on a Rabbanan, what to do is when you have a suffix on a Rabbanan. Where the Gemara didn't say there's a suffix the Rabbanan case, the Gemara said there's a machlokas between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan. And the Gemara gave you permission to choose which one you want to choose. Choose your poison, but you got to choose. And you want to paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, that's fine. You want to paskin like the Rabbanan, it's fine. According to Rabbi Yehuda, there's no suffix, and according to the Rabbanan, there's no suffix. So there's not a suffix to Rabbanan.
But for us, there's a suffix.
Which one is correct? But when the Gemara said the Ovid Kamar Ovid, what did it mean? Did it give you permission to mix and match? The Rosh says, no, it didn't give you. That's not what the Gemara said. Isn't what the Gemara meant. The Gemara meant that since it's a suffix the Rabbanan, you have a right to choose who you're going to hold like. But that's all the Gemara gave you permission to do. The Gemara didn't give you permission to make a mockery out of things.
So I can't say right now it's between Plag and Shia, and I haven't daven mincha yet, so therefore it's a suffix, I'm going to be able to daven mincha.
You can say anything you want. The Gemara didn't give you permission to do that.
I don't have permission according to the Rosh to do that.
Right, correct.
According to Meiri, I do have permission to do that.
Right, because that's how you read the words, meaning all the Gemara said these very brief words. The Ovid Kamar Ovid, the Ovid Kamar Ovid. Now, what does that mean? You do like this man, you could do it, or you do like this man, you could do it. What do you mean? And so the Meiri says what that means is it's like Shnei Shvilin. Gemara is giving you permission to one day do like this one day do like that one. And Gemara is saying since we don't know, So you could do like Rabbi Yehuda one day, you could do like it's like Shnei Shvilin. That's conceptually what the Gemara is saying. The Torah says, what are you talking about? That's not what the Gemara said, and not what it meant. It meant Avi Kamar Avi. If you want to choose Rabbi Yehuda, you can choose Rabbi Yehuda, or you can choose the Rabbanim. But don't go mix and match. Make a choice and stick with it. You could choose. I'm a Rabbi Yehuda man. I'm a Rabbanim man, but stick with it and don't jump around.
So according to the Meiri, I'm treating this like any other Durabanan, where I see Safek Durabanan Lahako. And according to Rosh, because of this language, the Avi Kamar, I'm being more machmer than I would normally in Durabanan case, because the Rabbanan are forcing me to stick to one Shita.
Yeah, you could say it that way, I guess. All right. If you understand it that way, say it that way.
I'm just saying, because otherwise it's Durabanan. So therefore, Meiri, on face value, without the whole everything else, the Meiri would be correct. It's Durabanan, Safek Durabanan Lahako, finish, end of story. So according to that, we have to say the Rosh is saying that Avi Kamar is telling you to be more machmer than a regular Durabanan.
It's saying, what it's saying is, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth over here. I don't want to answer this too much because I happen to. The way we're going to learn.
Rebbe's going to argue with this.
Correct. You got it. You got it.
The Rush.
But
if the Rush is Joseph,
not with the Rush.
If the Rush is Joseph on Tosfos's issue of a Durabanan with the Deraisa, then doesn't the Rush just not differentiate Durabanans or Deraisas when it comes to Torah Sasri?
Can you say it one more time, please?
If the Rush is Joseph on Tosfos's case of a Durabanan being an issue of Torah Sasri, and the Rush brings the Shidra case, which is a case Deraisa, then wouldn't it appear that the Rush doesn't differentiate or care in the world of Torah Sasri if it's a Durabanan case or a Deraisa case?
I'm not sure why you reach that conclusion. Again, when the Gemara said
that's what the the Rush brings.
No, I understand that. I mean, when the Gemara said the Avi Kamar Ovid, right?
Yeah.
And the way the Rush reads that is, it's not a Shiddur case because it's a suffix. Let's say it's a suffix Derabanan, and it's a suffix with a pasuk. But conceptually, in concept, it's like a Shiddur case. Meaning what? And you have a right to say I paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, but vadai like Rabbi Yehuda, or you have a right to say I paskin like the Rabbanan, but vadai like. Choose your man, choose your camp. But once you choose your camp, stick with it. You don't have a right to go jump around. I'm a Mizrahi, I'm a Haredi, I vote Republican, I'm Democrat, but make your choice. Whatever your choices are, you can make your choice. Now, but you can't jump around. And he compares it to Shidra in concept, in not a whole, you know what I'm saying, conceptually. In Shidra, he had the Paskin Vade because it was Deraisa. Here, it's like what the Gemara is telling us is, David Kamar Ovid, you have permission to paskin like Rabbi Yehuda if you like. You have permission to paskin like the Rabbanan if you like. But make your choice and stick with it.
I think the issue is we can't say Kriya Shema until after Tzeitz. And
okay.
And because of that, even if you daven Mariv during Plag, and you're a Rabbi Yehuda man, you still got an issue. You still have to say Kriya Shema later anyway.
So according to Rabbeinu Tam, you do not have to.
According to
Rabbeinu Tam, if you after Plag, if you daven Mariv after Plag, way before Shkia, it's after Plag, but wait, let's use the Groz Plag. You daven at we'll make it 4:30 in the afternoon, let's say in the winter, and it's still light outside. You daven and you said Shema, you yotze Shema.
Huh?
I thought we said these were two separate issues.
Which
Kriya Shema and Tefillah.
Well, we don't understand why they're the same. That was one of the problems we have. What right do you have to bring me a raya from Rabbi Yehuda who's talking about mincha to Shema, which is a deraisa? That's one of the questions we still have that we have to answer probably. And I think what the Stipler has done is given us a groundwork, a conceptual groundwork to do that, but not the way he did. Go.
Rebbe, does the Meiri actually say that? Does he actually compare this case to Shnei Shvilin?
Yes, he uses the word shnei shvilin, havika shnei shvilin. He explained why is it. He says there's some. It says Miri. Some people say if you daven mincha one day after, if you daven marv one day after plag, and next day you daven mincha after plag, it's terrible. You can't do that. It's tati l'sasri. Says Miri, it's not true. It's like shnei shvilin. As long as it's separate days, you could daven one day. You could daven marv after plag. Next day you could daven mincha after plag. It's not a problem because it's like shnei shvilin. That's the Miri's words.
Does the Rosh say shidra?
You what?
Does the Rosh say shidra, or does
Yes,
that
the Rosh
Yos
says,
Yaakov?
and the Rosh says no. And the Rosh says, Rabbeinu Tam, how could you say that you could sometimes daven marv after plag and on mincha? It's because shidra v'golgolis. It's like the case in Irvin that of shidra.
So what did the discipler add for us then, if they both said that those terms?
So he explained to us what the concepts are, and
Meaning,
and how to
the
read the Gemara.
machlokas is in the words of Avi Kamar.
Yeah, exactly. Without the stipler, I don't know how to read this Gemara, and I don't know what they were arguing about anyway. And now with the stipler, I understand what they're arguing about. When the Gemara says Avi Kamar, what is the Gemara saying? According to Miri, what it's saying is since it's a Drabanan, pick one, pick the other, as long as you don't mix them the same day, you're okay, because it's good. It's like Shnei Shvilin. We don't really know. It's okay. And according to Rosh Chas Shalom, it's not what the Gemara said. Avi Kamar means you have a right to choose, but just like by Shidra, if you're a Talmud of a Rebbe, you have a right to say, my Rebbe holds this way. So you have a right to choose Rabbanan or Rabbi Yehuda, but choose. Now, once you choose, you can't switch out of that camp, but you have a right to choose. So what the Stiplers help us understand is how the Meiri reads this line, how the Rosh reads these lines, and they read it very differently and come out with a very different conclusion, la halacha.
But doesn't the Kilas Yaakov also explain why the Rosh doesn't agree with the Meiri?
In what way?
Because I thought he says that he says that because at the end of the day you're going to be over the Derabanan.
What does it
Meaning
mean?
he agrees Safek Derabanan Lakula in general would be tied to disassery, but over here you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to have it. You could be in a case where you'd be over one Derabanan by meaning, right? Doesn't he goes into why, meaning because guys go and you explain what the machlokas is. The question is, I think like Binyamin Pesach said very well, is why is the Rosh all of a sudden arguing if he would stam hold that it wouldn't be tied to disassery and Safek Derabanan? So why all of a sudden here does he wake up? Doesn't sound like the Gemara is his motive.
What is his motive? Well, let's read it inside. What is his motive? What makes him change?
Inside, that's great, Rebbe. I like that idea.
Let's read inside. Let's see what it says. Let's go to 10, slide 10 and slide 11. Let's read inside. Okay, good. Here we go. Kilas Yaakov. Okay. Vashda. All right, you guys ready? Hashda hadar min li'ni miplaga min chulamala davi kamar avid mifarish la meiri. So that Gemara, when it says avi kamar, the Meiri explains shumidinam avur sham beperik lifnei edehem. The shall sofer halacha charmekel. The rule is by derabanan go lakula. Volpia cloud the savik derabanan lakula. That's the regular rule of savik derabanan lakula. But came just savik itiru chachamim, and since the chachamim will matir the suffix, they allowed you hareza dom and mamish beis shilim, just like shnei shilim. Shesveiko tar. It's a suffix tar. We don't care if the next day you pass in the other way. The shnei tzadim and suffix, because we don't really know. Is Rabbi Yehuda right? The Rabban right? Both are suffix. So just like by Tumah, Torah is matir, Hakanam is suffix Rabbanan, and there's a suffix itiru. The Chachamim will matir a suffix, and Virag begam the Vas Achad also. Just all if you do it the same day, that's also. Zegamkin Ela and the Rabbanan. But again, even that Isser the same day is only rabbinic Isser. In our case, is not done to plug a mincha shidra. Our case of plug a mincha is not comparable to shidra gagolis. Why? And also who shidina doraisa. Shidra and gagolis is a case of a doraisa question. Lomikoch sofik huta lasos kedasa matir, and not me sofik that you're allowed to go like the maker one. El shchala hora b'Torah sachra. Rather, the psak comes as a vade with Torah's decision or canal. Basically, let me show you the slide that makes this all clear. According to the Rosh, it's a psak, meaning by shidra, it's a psak. I hold this way. It has to be I hold this way because it's suffix daraisa. Says the Meiri, what are you hacking at China? It's not a psak, it's a suffix. Let me find that slide. Here we go. Meiri says, no, it's a suffix. And just like Shnei Shvilin is a suffix, so too, when the Gemara had this case of, do you do like a pasuk like Yehuda, do you pasuk like Rabbanan? It's a suffix. We don't really know. And as long as it's a suffix, it's okay. As long as on the same day you can't do it, but different days, it's fine. All right, so that we got so far. That's the Miri. So far, so good.
Yeah, it's interesting the psak and suffix are the same letters.
I know, and interesting because I didn't have the word psak. I just took the suffix and moved it over. Even more interesting. Okay, now let's go to the rush now. Aval dasa rush. Now the Kil Shak is going to explain to us the rush. Aval dasa rush. Al near da demrin the avi kemar avid la midin de b'shel sofrim halacha chamekel. When the Gemara said this expression David Kamar, it's not that it was saying since it's a suffix Rabbanan could be mekel. No, we need to Shem Lahala explain later on. Talmud and Milsa Elder Kan Amru Chazal. Rather, here the Chazal said halachim yuched. This is a special halacha. Sheyuchal lismach al ros damar udamar. You could be somech on the psak either of Rabbi Huda or the Rabbanan, but Torah sachra as a decision as it says right. Kederach shebedaraisa. Just like by a deraisa, yachal a talmud lismach al rabba muvak. Just like by a deraisa, a talmud can rely on his Rebbe muvak. Mishum hakim and lo din shidra. Therefore, the Rush compares it to shidra gogolis. Lo din shnei shvilin shas suffix ketira Torah. And by shnei shvilin, it's a suffix, and the Torah is matir the suffix. And by shidra, it's betorah sachra. It's a vada. I paskin this way. When the Gemara said the avi kamar avi by machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan, it was saying. You have a right to hold like Rabbi Yehuda, b'derech achra, meaning we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda is the man, he's right, and the Rabbanan are wrong. Or have a right to say we paskin like the Rabbanan right, and Rabbi Yehuda is wrong. But you can't mix and match it because the Gemara never gave permission to do that. I don't think you could have said it better. You know what I'm saying? If I were writing it, I would. I don't think I'd write it as well, but I don't see how I could have said it better.
In the next piece, it's a bigger piece, no? This is Rebbe just cropped it out.
Oh, you see, I only crop. That's the trick. I edit. I only edit the parts.
No, not edit. You just gave us. Isn't the next piece? He comes into the whole riot, meaning why the Rush didn't learn a Pashup Shah, because the Meiri sounds like it's Pashup Shah.
It's not. To be honest with you, it's not relevant to me. I have ulterior motives. I would like to use this Kilush Yaakov to explain Tosas. We have three major problems and really four problems with Tosas, and I think we could use the concepts that the Kilush Yaakov taught us to answer Tosas differently than the Kilush Yaakov, though, to be honest with you. But the concepts, we could use the same. So this is all I need from the Kilush Yaakov. I just need the concepts of how to, when the Gemara says David Kamar of it, how do we view it? And we're going to see that's going to help us dramatically answer all our questions. So what we have to do now is we have to chazer our questions so that Sunday night we can have the big punchline and we see how everything fits together. And Ms. Mashil, it's going to be beautiful. All right, ready? Here we go. Questions. Anybody got questions? Question number one. Question number we said was, how did Rabbeinu Tam daven before this Mishnah? Meaning, Rabbeinu Tam says, oy vey, now that I use Rabbi Yehuda for Shema, I got a problem because sometimes we daven mincha after plag. Rabbi Tam, with all due respect, that's an interesting question. Before you dealt with this Mishnah on Kriya Shema, I have a question. In your base medrash, some days they daven Mariv right after plag. Some days they daven mincha right after plag. That's a tarti de sasri. What is that problem got to do with Shema? Rabbeinu Tam, after having to answer Shema, he's got this problem with Tatir Sasi by Tefillah. That's Stam Akasha by Tefillah. Why does this all of a sudden come to him now as a question? Right? Are we good? Shlomo, you got this?
Yeah.
All right, that's question number one. Good. Question number two. How does the Re answer this question? I mean, what does the Re do? The Re said, nah, Rabbeinu Tam, you're wrong. You can't use Rabbi Yehuda to explain why you say Shema early. The reason why we say Shema early, really you're right, Rabbeinu Tam, that Mariv is the Ikar Kriya Shema, but the reason why you Yotzi then is because we all like the other Tanoim who hold that Shema isn't based on Tzeizik Kachavim, but either when the Ani eats his pito or when the Kohanim Matov, meaning an earlier time period. So therefore, we don't have the whole problem to begin with. Okay, very good, Rabbi Ri. I understand how you Yotzei Shema earlier, but let me ask you a question: how do you explain some nights you daven Mariv right after Plag, and some nights you daven mincha right after plug. How do you answer that question? Meaning, the Reed dropped Rabbeinu Tam for one reason. I can't live with this Tati de Sasri. But Rabbi Reed, with all due respect, you have a saying Tati de Sasri.
Rabbi, are these the same two questions, Rabbi, we did last week, Thursday night?
Yes,
Or-
yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. These are the questions that tomorrow that we're going to use the stipler to answer.
So we sidetracked to the stipler to learn
Not
something. And
sidetrack. Yeah, meaning we gained a understanding that
come
will
back
help.
to these questions.
Exactly. We'll answer these questions. You guys hear what I'm saying? Shlomo, you hear what I'm saying here? Watch. I mean, the Reese says, I can't live with a Tati de Sasri. He tells us you're wrong. I cannot accept your answer. And if I have to use a different answer for Shema, what's my answer? And my answer is we hold like the Tanaim. Okay, Yishkach, wonderful, I hear. But how do you answer the problem? You also have a Tati de Sasri. You have the same Tati de Sasri that Rabbeinu Tam had. Some nights you daven Marav, you have to plug. Some nights you daven Mincha, you have to plug. It's Tati de Sasri. You didn't accomplish anything. Good?
Yeah. And you don't want to say like when Yom Pesach, if there's some time in between that you was davening mincha, and then later after the time the reset they were
No,
davening
because
Marav.
they didn't say that. They didn't say, "Hey, we'll catch a sliver of time, 3 minutes here, that's not what they answered. And nobody said that. Rabbeinu Tam asked the kasha, the Re agrees to the kasha, and he therefore has to switch out, All right. That's question number 2. Question number 3 is, what does plaga mincha have to do with Shema? Meaning, okay, Rabbi Yehuda tells us that the last time to daven mincha is plaga mincha. Okay, I got that. Very nice. So Rabbeinu Tam says, oh, if Rabbi Yehuda says the last time to daven mincha is plaga mincha, must be yotze Shema then. What? What in the world does that have to do? And mincha is totally on the karbanas, the carbon tamid, and the last time to bring it was. Shema is totally on b'shoch b'cha. They're two totally different things. It's Mizrach and Levant. Like, what are you mixing up over here?
Down there, the Gemara and Daf Bezim and Al Bezim Bezim brings out like 10 different shitas for Shema. None of them say plug. It's only 5 shitas?
Yep. None of them say plug. That's correct.
Didn't we discuss this? That if you hold that way, then you can daven Marv immediately? Isn't that
Yes. The question is why?
right?
I know Tosa says that. The question is why? Meaning all Rabbi Huda told us was that plaga mincha is the last time to daven mincha. Now I know why he said that, because he happens to hold that the last time to bring the carbon tamid was then. Or Tosa says this business about Ketoris. The simple reading is Rabbi Yehuda holds the last time you could bring the carbon tamid was plaga mincha. Now, since guys, let's watch this a minute. What's the luck about chakras? When's the last time you could daven chakras? So interestingly enough, it's machlokas, right? When's the last time? General
We
halacha
talked about this last week,
right? Now,
Yehuda says 4 hours.
Now, why does Rabbi Yehuda say until Dalet shows? Because he holds the carbon tamid of shachar could only be brought till the 4th hour. The Rabbanan say, no, you could daven till chatzos. Why? Because they hold the carbon tamid shel shachar could be brought to chatzos. Okay, very nice. Now we come to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan arguing about mincha. It says Rabbi Yehuda, when's the last time you could daven mincha? And it says plaga mincha. Now why? Because simply he holds that the last time to bring the carbon tamid of our ben arbayim is by plaga mincha. The Rabbanan say you could daven till Marav. Why? Because they have to hold the carbon tamid shel ben arbayim. You could makriv until night erev. So what in the world does that have to do with Shema? I get it why you can daven mincha. You have to stop daven mincha. And maybe even Marav, you could tell me, to stop daven mincha, maybe you could argue you could daven Marav. I'm not sure if that makes sense either, but let's say it does. That has nothing to do with Shema. Shema is based on b'shach b'cha uvikumecha. What is the time period to say Shema? Torah says when you lie down, the time that people lie down, uvikumecha, the time people get up. That's not based on erev or boker. It's based on shash shekiva, time to lie down. What's it got to do with Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanan? It's mamish the arbis and avant.
Rabbi, on this third point, can't it be understood just that the Rabbeinu Tam held that Shema was intertwined with Marav? So if for whatever reason we learned out from Rabbi Yehuda that you could say start dying Marav, then it must be that he held also you could say Shema.
I suspect you're right. The question is, how could you pull a trick like that? It's illegal maneuver. Because Shema, I agree, Shema is intertwined in Marav. But then you got to daven Marav after Tzeis Kachavim, because the earliest time you can daven Shema is Seis, because it says B'shach B'cha. It doesn't say when the carbon tamid is brought. It doesn't say Plaga Mincha. It says B'shach B'cha. What does B'shach B'cha have to do with Rabbi Yehuda's opinion about davening Mincha? It's absurd. I should be in sales because when I say these questions, I actually hear these questions. I'm doing a good job of selling myself on them. I wonder if we can answer them actually. All right, we'll see, hopefully. All right, question number 4. Oh, we have a 4th question? Yeah. Oh, watch this one. This is cute. I don't know if you guys appreciate this. Is the Shagas Ari correct that Rabbeinu Tam holds Shema is the Rabbanan? Who ever heard such a, I mean, with all due respect, the Shartzian, the Mishmur disagrees vehemently, the Velt disagrees vehemently, and the Shagas Ari proves that Rabbeinu Tam must hold that Shema is the Rabbanan. By the way, do you appreciate how the Shagas Ari proves that it's the Rabbanan?
Because he holds that, because the Rebbeinu Tam holds you can daven by Plaga Mincha or Kriya Shema.
Right,
so how could it be anything but Rabbanan?
Exactly. Yet nobody says that in Rabbeinu Tam.
Right.
Every other rabbi learns Rabbeinu Tam to be Doraisa. And now the Shagas Ari is right, I guess, in a sense. The only logic we could use to explain Rabbeinu Tam is, it must be, because since the Ovid Kimar Ovid means it's on the Rabbanan, you have right to choose. Must be Rabbeinu Tam holds Shema as the Rabbanan, so you have right to choose. By the way, the Shagas Ari is right in a sense. Conceptually, he answers the kasha on Rabbeinu Tam, meaning what does Shema have to do with Mariv? The answer is because Shema is the Rabbanan, and when the Rabbanan gave you the right to do Kamar or Kamar, they said you have a right to choose like Rabbi Yehuda, choose like Rabbanan, and since Shema is the Rabbanan also, you have a right to choose there also. So at least according to
for sure going within the Miri camp.
I don't know Meiri or the right. It doesn't really matter to me. The point is the Shagas Ari,
because according to the Rush, even if it's Durabanan, it's still you have to be machlet like one or the other. So it's only going to work because according to Miri.
No. But according to the Rush, you have a right to say I always passing like Rabbi Yehuda, and if I always daven Mariv right after Plag, I always last time I daven Mincha before Plag, and I always daven Mariv after. You have a right to say that.
Right, but Rabbeinu Tam said that that's a problem, and then that causes a question for him.
I mean, how do you daven Mincha some other evenings?
Yeah, how do you do it some nights one night, some ways the other?
All right, the truth is, it happens to be the Rush argues with Rabbeinu Tam for this reason. Meaning, when he says Shidra, he says, therefore, Rabbeinu Tam's wrong.
Right. So therefore, meaning, if you're trying to explain Rabbeinu Tam, you have to be within the Meiri camp.
Oh, you mean you have to use that system of logic, right?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, correct. Yes. But the point is, though, that according to the Shagas Ari, at least Rabbeinu Tam makes sense, right? I mean, what does Shema have to do with Mariv? The answer is because Shema is only the Rabbanan. So since Avi Kamar, Avi, you have a right to choose either like Rabbi Yehuda, the Rabbanan, for Mincha Mariv, which is the Rabbanan, so to Shema, which is the Rabbanan. So
why does the Rabbeinu Tam end off with a question on himself about Tarzan Sasri?
Because nevertheless, it probably holds like the Rush. You'd have to say something like that. I mean,
all of a sudden, he holds like the Rush.
What am I going to tell? Listen, I don't. Again, I'm not agreeing at all with the Shagas Ari. I'm just saying that it comes out the way the Shagas Ari sets it up. At least it makes sense. You understand how the relationship between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan affects Shema. But again, I don't believe he's correct because again, most people do not agree with him. But the question is, how do we answer his question? All right, so these are scenes of coming attractions. Sunday night sounds like it's going to be very exciting. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of action. We're going to answer these 4 questions in Mitzvah Hashem, and we're going to make sense out of Rabbeinu Tam, and it's going to be beautiful. Beautiful.
When Rebbe says we're dropping the Kilyos Yaakov, does that mean the way he understands the Rush and the Meiri, or just that we could use the concepts a little differently for Rabbeinu Tam?
Yeah, we're going to use the concepts a little bit differently, but we're going to see that let's wait, let's hold on, let's see, because let's see, because I don't want to say too much, because I don't want to ruin the coming. This is a trailer. The trailer's got to leave some.
We got to over the weekend. We had some suspense.
Yeah. By the way, I have a challenge, gentlemen. Use the Kilyos Yaakov and answer Rabbeinu Tam. Go for it. Go for it. Figure out how you can use it. You're not sticking exactly with what the Kilyos Yaakov said, but using his explanations and thereby explain perfectly, mamish, as if Rabbeinu Tam said it, what Rabbeinu Tam is saying. And when you get it, you're going to say, oh my goodness, it mamish fits into Rabbeinu Tam as if he said those like he's saying it. That's a challenge. Use the Kilyos Yaakov's, concept, use these splits to explain Rabbeinu Tam mamish like a mizmor. Are you up to the challenge? Chaim, you with us? Where's Chaim? Chaim, don't go away. Chaim, where'd he go? Did he leave? Chaim,
Just
did
left a second.
Just he realized I'm calling on him. He runs away. The man is
Are
smart.
lagaves permissible in this exercise?
Are lagabes? What do you mean? What is
Meaning,
lagabe?
we say that lagabe marav will consider the shema, that you have to say the shema, but really it's only drabanan because you're really gonna have to say shema later on. But lagabe marav will consider this to be shema because we'll say you're working within the world of.
You can say anything you want. It's not what Rabbeinu Tam says. Rabbeinu Tam says you're yotzei shema. You're yotzei shema. You don't have to say another word of shema again. All right, gentlemen. Let's
like a brick wall to me. That's just like difficult. Like how you could.
You got a whole Shabbos. You got Friday, Shabbos, even till Sunday, till 9 o'clock Sunday. Mama's like 3 days. It's gonna be easy.
I think Rebbe gave us some hints in the first year by accident.
Oops.
Rabbi, maybe because also it's the time for people to sleep that time.
So why
maybe
would
that's why?
But why would it, first of all, did people go to sleep 4:30 in the afternoon? I don't know many people. Maybe some. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
No. I don't mean in Alaska or something like that. In Israel, in the afternoon, the people go to sleep. The kids, a lot of people go to sleep, and before that there was light, candle light and everything. The people go to sleep. That was time to sleep. Maybe that's why Tosfot is saying that.
So
because it's time that some people go to sleep at that time.
Good. I can hear if you say so, kachavim, people go to sleep. Okay, it's very early, but maybe you're right. In the old farms where you had candlelight, so maybe when it turned dark at night, you went to sleep, maybe. But Plaga Mincha is before then. Plaga Mincha is still light outside. According to the Gra, it's broad daylight. According to other sheets, it's close to Shkia. But by the way, Shkia Sachama, it's still very light outside. Do people go to sleep by Shkia? Do you know anybody goes to sleep by Shkia on Shabbos?
My kids.
Your kid, okay, good. Your kids are not adults. Your kids go to sleep. But adults don't go to
during the
sleep.
summer.
Yeah, okay, right, maybe. All right, good, gentlemen. We'll see you, Mitzvah Hashem, Sunday night. Bright and early. Well, hopefully you got till then to figure it out. All right? Atzlacha. Good work. Good. Go for it.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Shabbos. Okay, Shabbos.